The moment Star Wars: The Force Awakens begins, longtime fans instantly feel something familiar. The legendary music starts playing, the opening crawl appears on screen, and suddenly it feels like the magic of Star Wars has returned once again. After years of waiting, audiences finally stepped back into a galaxy filled with lightsabers, stormtroopers, space battles, and the eternal struggle between light and darkness. Directed by J. Abrams, the movie had one of the hardest jobs imaginable. It needed to continue one of the most beloved franchises in cinema history while also introducing a completely new generation of heroes. And honestly, the film succeeds in bringing back the excitement, adventure, and emotional energy that made Star Wars legendary in the first place. The story takes place decades after the fall of the Empire. But peace never truly lasted. From the ashes of the old empire rises a dangerous new military force known as the First Order, led by the mysterious Supreme Leader Snoke and his terrifying apprentice Kylo Ren. Meanwhile, the Resistance, led by General Leia Organa, desperately tries to stop another galactic war before it consumes the entire galaxy again. At the center of the story is Rey, a lonely scavenger living on the desert planet Jakku. Daisy Ridley delivers an excellent performance here because Rey immediately feels relatable. She's not introduced as some perfect superhero. She's isolated, abandoned, and simply trying to survive day by day. But underneath that loneliness is curiosity, strength, and a hidden destiny she doesn't yet understand. Rey quickly becomes the emotional heart of the movie. Watching her slowly discover her connection to something bigger creates the same sense of wonder audiences felt when Luke Skywalker first looked toward the twin suns decades ago. Another major new character is Finn, played brilliantly by John Boyega. Finn's introduction is honestly one of the movie's best ideas. Instead of showing a fearless stormtrooper, the film gives us someone terrified by violence and war. He begins as a soldier trained to obey without question, but after witnessing brutality firsthand, he chooses to escape the First Order. That choice immediately makes Finn different from many action heroes. He's scared, confused, and constantly trying to survive. But deep down, he wants to do the right thing. The chemistry between Finn and Rey becomes one of the strongest parts of the film because their friendship feels genuine and natural. Then comes Kylo Ren. Adam Driver delivers an unforgettable performance as one of the most emotionally unstable villains in Star Wars history. Kylo Ren is not calm like Darth Vader. He's angry, emotional, impulsive, and constantly struggling between light and darkness. That internal conflict makes him fascinating to watch. The movie smartly avoids making him a simple copy of Vader, even though he clearly idolizes him. Kylo feels like someone desperately trying to become a monster while still having traces of humanity left inside. His emotional instability actually makes him more unpredictable and dangerous. Visually, the movie looks incredible. One of the biggest reasons audiences connected with The Force Awakens was because it brought back practical effects, real locations, and physical sets. Instead of relying entirely on green screens, the movie feels tangible and alive. The desert landscapes of Jakku, snowy forests of Starkiller Base, and massive starships all look cinematic and immersive. The film perfectly balances old-school Star Wars aesthetics with modern filmmaking technology. The action sequences are also fantastic. From fast-paced TIE fighter chases to massive space battles, the movie constantly delivers excitement. The Millennium Falcon chase scene, especially feels like pure Star Wars energy, chaotic, thrilling, and incredibly fun. And of course, hearing that iconic soundtrack from John Williams once again adds emotional power to almost every scene. The music brings nostalgia while also introducing beautiful new themes for characters like Rey and Kylo Ren. But perhaps the biggest emotional impact comes from the return of the original characters. Seeing Han Solo again feels emotional from the very first moment he appears on screen. Harrison Ford slips back into the role effortlessly. Han is older now, more tired, and still struggling with personal failures, but the charm and humor remain intact. The movie smartly uses nostalgia without completely depending on it. Han Solo becomes more than fan service, he becomes a bridge between old and new generations. Leia's return also carries emotional weight. Carrie Fisher brings warmth, wisdom, and quiet sadness to the role. You can feel the history behind her character without the movie needing long explanations. And then there's Chewbacca, who honestly steals scenes simply by existing. Every interaction between Han and Chewie instantly feels familiar and comforting for longtime fans. One thing the movie does extremely well is capturing the adventurous spirit of classic Star Wars. The pacing moves quickly, the humor feels natural, and there's always a sense of momentum pushing the story forward. Even serious moments are balanced with fun and excitement. However, the movie also received criticism from some fans for feeling too similar to the original 1977 Star Wars film. There are definitely parallels. A desert orphan discovers a greater destiny, a droid carries important information, a planet-destroying superweapon threatens the galaxy, and a young hero joins the fight against evil. For some viewers, this similarity created nostalgia. For others, it felt overly safe and repetitive. But honestly, it feels intentional. After the mixed reactions to the prequel trilogy, the filmmakers clearly wanted to reconnect audiences with the classic feeling of Star Wars. In many ways, The Force Awakens acts like a rebirth of the franchise. The emotional moments hit surprisingly hard too. The movie explores themes of loneliness, identity, legacy, and belonging. Rey wants to know who she is. Finn wants freedom from fear. Kylo Ren wants to escape his inner conflict. Every major character is searching for purpose. That emotional foundation helps the movie feel more meaningful beneath all the action and spectacle. The lightsaber duel in the snowy forest remains one of the movie's most visually beautiful scenes. Instead of looking overly choreographed, the fight feels raw, emotional, and desperate. Snow falls around glowing lightsabers while characters battle not only physically, but emotionally. The movie also leaves audiences with major mysteries. Who are Rey's parents? Who exactly is Snoke? Why did Luke Skywalker disappear? Those unanswered questions created huge excitement and endless fan theories after release. And speaking of Luke, the ending becomes incredibly emotional the moment Rey finally finds him. Without saying a single word, Mark Hamill's final appearance creates massive anticipation for what comes next. One of the film's greatest achievements is making Star Wars feel culturally exciting again. New audiences fell in love with the franchise while older fans experienced the joy of returning to this universe after many years. Of course, the movie is not perfect. Some side characters needed more development, certain plot points relied heavily on nostalgia, and the First Order sometimes felt too similar to the old Empire. But despite those flaws, the film succeeds because it captures the feeling of adventure, hope, and imagination that defines Star Wars. At its core, The Force Awakens is about a new generation stepping into a legendary story. It respects the past while opening the door for the future. Overall, Star Wars: The Force Awakens is an exciting, emotional, visually stunning return to one of cinema's